In 2007, a Dubai-based firm proposed the construction of a $20 billion bridge between Djibouti and Yemen, dubbed the Bridge of the Horns. Scheduled to open in 2020, it was envisioned as the world's longest suspension bridge, creating a 29-kilometer connection across the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. However, as of now, the bridge remains an unfulfilled dream. Why has this ambitious project failed to materialize, despite its potential to significantly transform the economies of both countries? Let's explore the reasons. Before we go deeper into the reason behind the stalling of work on the bridge, let's look over the history. Starting in Yemen, connecting to the island of Perim, and continuing on to Djibouti on the African continent. The Bridge of the Horns is a project thought of by Osama bin Laden's brother, Tariq bin Laden. Named the Al-Noor Project, it's designed to be a combination of a 6-lane causeway and suspension bridge, with 4 piers with the capability to carry 100,000 vehicles a day. It will also feature 4 light rail lines that would carry up to 50,000 passengers per day and gas and water pipelines. The bridge's incredible height is designed to accommodate the huge number of ships that pass through the Red Sea via the Suez Canal. If built, the bridge would cross the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, a narrow waterway that connects the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden, separating the Arabian Peninsula from the Horn of Africa. Given that the Bab el-Mandeb Strait reaches depths of up to 300 meters in some areas, the bridge's towers would need to be 700 meters tall, 400 meters above the water, to adequately support the structure. Along with the bridge, 2 massive cities, one in Djibouti and the other in Yemen, would be built. These cities would be known as the Al-Noor cities, or Cities of Light. The one on the Djiboutian side is planned to house 2.5 million people, with another 4.5 million people on the Yemeni side. The proposed cities, planned to be constructed in a span of 15 years, were envisioned as models of sustainability and humanitarian values, built entirely with green technologies and powered by renewable energy sources. They were also expected to bring much-needed economic stability to Djibouti, transforming it into a major economic hub as a new bridge between Africa and the Middle East. Djibouti has already experienced a modest economic boost since Ethiopia, after losing sea access when Eritrea gained independence, began using Djibouti as its primary shipping point to the outside world. But this project aims to further address the crippling debt and its 40 to 60% unemployment rate. In addition to the cities planned at each end of the Bridge of the Horns, Al-Noor cities have also been proposed for Syria, Egypt, Sudan, and the Mecca-Jeddah corridor in Saudi Arabia. The Djiboutian government was eager to proceed, having already allocated hundreds of square kilometers of land for the development of an Al-Noor city on its side. In Yemen also, about 1,000 square kilometers of land has been staked out. However, despite the economic benefits of the project and numerous proposals and agreements, the project has yet to progress beyond opening ceremonies. If you're wondering why there hasn't been much recent news, it's because the project has faced repeated delays. Construction on Phase 1 was supposed to begin in 2019, but neither the Yemeni nor the Djiboutian government has signed a framework agreement to give Al-Noor the green light. Since then, updates have been virtually non-existent. So what are the reasons behind that? One of the primary challenges lies in the political instability of the region. This instability raises serious security concerns, affecting the feasibility of the massive project. Yemen is plagued by the presence of extremist groups like Al-Qaeda and the Arabian Peninsula. A bridge connecting Yemen and Djibouti could become a physical link between the Arabian Peninsula and the African continent, potentially facilitating the movement of these extremist groups. This poses a long-term security risk to the African continent. Coupled with the ongoing war in Yemen, the region has become dangerous and unstable. Since 2014, Yemen has been torn apart by a civil war between the government and the Houthi rebels. The fighting has caused widespread destruction, leaving cities and infrastructure in ruins. It has led to one of the largest humanitarian crises in the world, with more than 20 million Yemenis in need of aid and suffering from inadequate food, healthcare, and infrastructure. More than 4 million people were internally displaced from their homes due to the war. Yemen's economy has been devastated by the war. The conflict has led to the collapse of the Yemeni rival's exchange rate, sharp reductions in its circulation, and increasing inflation. In such a situation, building a bridge is far from a priority. The risk of construction sites being damaged or attacked is too high to even begin the project. With no funds or resources to spare, Yemen cannot contribute to a project as expensive as the bridge. Also, Djibouti's neighbor, Somalia, has long been associated with piracy and lawlessness. The waters surrounding the Horn of Africa are known for piracy, with ships often targeted for ransoms. In 2011, piracy in the region reached its peak, with 212 attacks on merchant vessels. This caused significant financial issues to global shipping and commerce. The World Bank estimated the cost to shipping between 2005 and 2012 at around $18 billion a year. This chaotic environment makes the area highly dangerous for large-scale construction projects, as workers, machinery, and materials would all face significant risks. Kidnappings in the region further add to the danger. In a 2019 survey conducted by researchers from the Mixed Migration Center, it was revealed that more than 15% of the refugees traveling north through the Horn of Africa were victims of kidnappers that year. This shows how rampant kidnappings take place in the region, putting the lives of any contractors or workers to work on the bridge in jeopardy. In addition, the United States has its only permanent military base in Africa, located in Djibouti, known as Camp Lemonnier. Established after the 9/11 attack, the region was chosen by the US due to its strategic location and its relative political stability compared to neighboring countries. The presence of the French troops there, tasked with protecting the country, further enhances its appeal as a safe location. This secure environment allowed the US military to establish their base with relatively minimal firepower. However, the involvement of individuals like Tariq bin Laden, considering his relationship with Osama bin Laden in proposing the bridge project, raises alarms. The US military might see the bridge as a potential security risk, as it could create vulnerabilities for its base. Any increase in traffic or access to the area could pose a threat to the US troops stationed there. Another major obstacle to building the bridge is the lack of infrastructure in both countries, especially in Yemen. To construct a massive bridge, efficient roads and transportation networks are needed to move materials, equipment, and workers to the construction site. Yemen, in particular, suffers from poorly developed and damaged roads due to years of neglect and war. Without reliable transportation, delivering supplies to remote areas for bridge construction is extremely difficult. It will also require rails, but there's none in sight. The proposed bridge would require advanced ports on both sides to handle the increased traffic and trade. However, the ports in Yemen are outdated and have been further damaged by the ongoing civil war. For instance, Aden is one of Yemen's younger ports, but its relative peace has made it an important hub for trade. However, the port's old infrastructure has not been updated, and there is no proper maintenance system in place. This has led to growing delays in operations and safety risks for workers. The container terminal in Aden is one of the largest and best in Yemen, but its equipment is old and outdated, which affects its efficiency. Another one, the port of Mukalla, built in 1985, was meant to serve the northern part of Yemen's Hadramaut Governorate. It is a key part of the area's economy and has mostly avoided damage from the ongoing war. Like Aden, it also suffers from a lack of maintenance and has limited resources to improve its facilities. Djibouti's ports are more functional, but would need significant upgrades to accommodate the demands of the bridge. In 2023, the World Bank ranked Djibouti's ports 379th out of 405 in its Container Port Performance Index. Berbera Port in Somalia, for instance, stands out for its impressive operational efficiency, ranking 103rd globally. It offers quicker turnaround times for container ships, making it one of the better performing ports in the region. With an overall ranking of 208, Conakry Port showed moderate efficiency, outperforming Djibouti, though it still fell short of the highest regional standards. The Djibouti ports, according to the World Bank, have experienced a dramatic decline in performance, which threatens the country's economic goals and its position as a key maritime hub. Djibouti's port infrastructure, though extensive, is hindered by outdated equipment and poor maintenance. Essential cranes frequently break down, causing long delays. But that's not all when it comes to the lack of infrastructure. Constructing and maintaining the world's longest suspension bridge requires advanced technology and a stable power supply. In Yemen, electricity is unreliable and often unavailable in many regions, making it impossible to power the construction sites or operate the modern equipment. Yemen is an interesting case because despite being an energy exporting country, many of its people still lack access to modern energy sources. A large portion of the population, both in cities and rural areas, depend on traditional fuels like firewood and dung for daily use. Access to electricity in Yemen is very low, with only 54% of households having any form of electrification. The project also presents numerous geographical and engineering challenges. When the ambitious Al Noor project was first announced, skeptics dismissed it as overly optimistic. Some even joked that the developers might have been under the influence of khat, a plant widely consumed in Yemen that can cause excitement and euphoria. Despite these concerns, the project has initially garnered interest from international companies, with major players like Honeywell, Avaya, and AIG Investments already on board as partners. However, analysts question whether the timing is right to attract substantial foreign investment, especially from Western countries. Moreover, the global financial climate presents another challenge. With the credit crunch hitting hard and many lenders in the US and Europe suffering losses from real estate investments, financial institutions are becoming more cautious. This tightening of resources makes it less likely for them to back ambitious projects like Al Noor at this time. The Bridge of the Horns is a vision of possibility, a connection that could transform economies and strengthen ties between Africa and the Middle East. But for now, the challenges outweigh the dream. Do you think the bridge will ever become a reality? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, like, share and subscribe to our channel for more captivating stories from around the world.